Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everybody's having a great week so far. We are about to do the NBA mock draft. We got March Madness going on. And it's been a minute since I last did a NBA takes, talking about the NBA in general. A big shout out quick to my boy right over here, TSO Sage, right down here in the 42,000 subscribers. Check him out. I talk about him all the time. I talk about him in all my NBA videos. He is a phenomenal guy. He's jumped up so much. Initially, like not even a month ago, like 2 weeks ago, he was only at 36K. Now he's at 42. It's phenomenal news for him. I thought I'd go and talk about especially the bottom 5 teams. Being that of the Indiana Pacers, Detroit Pistons, Orlando Magic, Houston Rockets, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, because those teams are more than likely not going to make it to the play-in tournament, let alone make it to the playoffs. All the other teams, Sacramento has a chance to be able to make it into it. You have pretty much the Lakers through the Kings, that they have a chance that this could shift where the Lakers could not, they have the opportunities and they may not make it if they keep up this losing streak. And they have a rough schedule coming up too, if I remember correct. The Knicks and the Wizards, they don't like there's only like 10 games left in the season. They're looking pretty rough to be able to make it. The Atlanta Hawks are looking pretty good at it to make it, but we're going to especially talk in depth with about those 5 teams. Also, a big shout out to TheFatRat. Great artist, has great music. I'm subscribed to him. 5.9 million subscribers. Has such great artists that are part of his songs, as you can tell with Lindsey Sterling, one of the most famous violinists. But I thought we'd get into some NBA mock drafts. Starting with the Houston Rockets with Jabari Smith, a 6'10", 220-pound, 7-foot wingspan, and I love this move. We'll talk about, like I said, we'll talk about especially the top 5 teams in depth, more so with than the other teams. We might go through the other lottery draft picks if we get time, but I'll be keeping an eye on the time too. Jabari Smith. March Madness is here, and his battle for the number 1 pick could come down to who has the best tournament between Jabari and Chet Holmgren. You can't go wrong with either of these two. And again, really, the top that, for one, I'm hearing, like, I've heard things about Keegan Murray through Jabari Smith, especially in the mock draft, that these guys are going to be absolute studs. You can't go wrong with any of them. But these two are like a top 2 pick, guaranteed. What I'm hearing. Jabari Smith. I like that fit to go along with Christian Wood, if they were to keep Christian Wood. Again, it's like what they said in the description that I can turn it up just a tad bit more for you. I can turn myself up a little bit more. Depends on what they want to do with Christian Wood. He's only 25 years old. For him to have the opportunity to go to the 4, Jabari Smith, keep Christian Wood, who's still a young player, to go along with Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Kenyon Martin Jr., Jashawn Tate, it'd be not a bad group. Or again, if they do want to trade away Christian Wood, they can go and get a Chet Holmgren, get a pick, maybe a top 15 pick, maybe go out and try to get that Knicks pick and get the Ty Washington. I don't see why not, but this would be right now, if they want to keep Christian Wood, this is probably the better move in that circumstance. Just the simple fact that he's a power forward and he can keep Christian Wood. Chet Holmgren to the Magic is what they're saying so far. 7 foot, 195 pounds, a 7'6" wingspan. It's nearly impossible to find players who can do what Chet does at 7 feet tall. He's a unicorn and all eyes will be on him this March. Guys, he does a little bit of everything. Dirk Light, Marcus Camby on defense. That's not a bad comparison. When it comes to Jabari Smith, Triple J, Rashard Lewis plus. That is a phenomenal composition. Chet Dirk and Marcus Camby. Again, when it comes to the Magic, they have such a young roster. The question is, what do you do with all the players that they have? Their roster, we can actually go to depth, would be probably even better. You got starting point guard Cole Anthony for now, Jalen Suggs who's out, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Mo Bamba. Your second one would be Markelle Fultz, RJ Hampton, Terrence Ross, Okeke, and Moritz Wagner. Unfortunately, they did miss Jonathan Isaac, and he's out. And I don't know. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. The circumstance of his health is the biggest question to me. And so, do you move on from Jonathan Isaac and go ahead and slide Chet Holmgren to the 5? You go and trade away Jonathan Isaac, who has a huge ceiling, and I talk about him all the time. Go and rebuild around Chet Holmgren. You can still have a young group of Markelle Fultz, who's now healthy, Jalen Suggs, who's out now, Cole Anthony, didn't mean to do that one. Franz Wagner is he's like one of the best players in this past year's draft class. Wendell Carter Jr. has proven to be an excellent power forward center combo. Mo Bamba has really stand out, and so it's starting to become that position where, do you really actually go out there and try to just get the best player? Do you trade away that pick? I'm curious to see what they plan to do with that, because to me, getting a wing player like an Adrian Griffin, trade your pick this year, trade away that pick, go out and get Adrian Griffin instead with trade with the Kings. They can go out and get Chet Holmgren, who can do a little bit of everything. Slides the bonus, keeps the bonus at the 5, and then Chet Holmgren at the 4, or vice versa. Again, the Indiana Pacers, we've dealt with that before, though, so I wouldn't blame the Kings if they do not want to do that kind of thing. But the Magic are in a really interesting, but good interesting position with all their young talent. And whatever they do, they're in a rebuild. They'll figure it out eventually. Detroit Pistons are getting Jaden Ivey, the Purdue kid at 6'4", weight 200 pounds, not applicable on his wingspan. Dwayne Wade, Josh Richardson plus. That's not a bad comparison. Josh Richardson from the Miami Heat, and when he was on the 76ers, he was a stud. He kind of fell off a little bit when he went to Dallas, but then he went to Celtics, started playing really good again, and then he's playing pretty good on the Spurs right now. It's not a bad comparison. Ivy has a level of explosive ability who we haven't seen since Jaw. he should be in the conversation for number 1 overall and be a lock for the top 4. To me, again, when it comes to the top 2 teams, you got so many. Well, the Rockets would be intriguing because if he would go to the Rockets, you could then slide Jalen Green to the 3 or Jaden Ivey to the 3, and then Kevin Porter Jr. at the 1. It's not bad, but again, in this circumstance, I think this actually would be the better of the moves for them. Because then you have, because I know Killian Hayes is kind of not working, he's not having that coexistence with Cade Cunningham. Then you have Killian Hayes come off the bench, Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham in the backcourt would be phenomenal for them. Sadiq Bey, the Livers kid, Isaiah Stewart, any prospect will help out the Pistons a lot, and I wouldn't blame them if they had the opportunity to get Jaden Ivey. Go for it. That'd be awesome for them. The Oklahoma City Thunder, Shaedon Sharpe from Kentucky. I know they ended up getting eliminated. The Kentucky ended up losing to not St. Mary's because Indiana lost to them. Can't remember who they just lost to. Sharpe is a wild card in the 2022 draft. There's a chance he goes back and plays at Kentucky, but a top 6-ish selection might be too hard to pass up. Brandon Roy. Wow. That is insane. And you can slide him to 3. Lou Dortz is only 6'2". And no, he's 6'4". Same with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Having him at the 3 would not be too bad. Pokusevski's kind of not had the best year. I know they had they had a stud. Oh, Joshua Giddey. They could go extremely small in their lineup. If they do end up deciding to get the Shaedon Sharpe, the comparison of Brandon Roy, that'd be phenomenal for them. Basically has had a decent year, if I remember correct. Who was the Theo Milton has had a pretty good year. Isaiah Roby's been a really good player for them. Same with Kenrick Williams has been really good for them. Again, to me, be able to get a center like a Chet Holmgren, trade up and go and get a Chet Holmgren would be, I think, their best move in my opinion. Pokusevski's still young and talented, has that opportunity to get there, but the consistency you'll be able to get from Chet Holmgren and the ceiling you'll get from Chet Holmgren, I'd rather much get that and a guaranteed ceiling of knowing that a Dirk Light, Marcus Camby on defense kind of player. I love that idea for this team right here. But you can't go wrong with a Shaedon Sharpe would not be Brandon Roy comparison. Why thou not? Good morning. So, Paulo Banchero to the Indiana Pacers. Lacks elite upside, but he's very much a known commodity who will be a bucket getter in the NBA. Doesn't project it as a good defender. This is the one I really want to check out because it's my Indiana Pacers. If they're projecting to get my boy, or they're projecting to get Paulo Banchero, he's gonna be my dude. I want to read more about him. He's one of the elite prospects in 2021. He's a 6'8", which he's actually 6'10" now. So when it was... Okay, so this is an old... Yeah, this was back in... This is back in 2018. Paolo Banchero has dropped off just a little. He might still go in the top 5, but in my opinion is no longer the #1 overall contender. There's even a chance he drops out of the top 5 if Shaedon Sharpe declares and some of the other guards continue to ascend. Paolo's scoring package is awesome, and he will certainly be a guy who gets buckets in the NBA. He's also shown good passing vision and the ability to create offense for himself and for others. He's got a developing but promising three-point shot and will likely stretch the floor in the NBA, but he has limitations as well, especially on the defense end, where he's a below-average rim protector and he is merely adequate guarding in the post or in space. He's not a big wingspan guy and isn't the most instinctive defender. Paolo is a really good prospect, but could be even more of a possible all-star rather than a franchise-altering talent, which is what the Indiana Pacers have never been about. We never had that. We had it back in with Paul George and Oladipo to an extent. Oladipo ended up getting hurt. Paul George ended up getting hurt. We let them go. We don't need the franchise-altering player when it comes to this. And based on what I just read, I'm perfectly fine with him not being the most elite defender. We kept Miles Turner, which is actually has panned out to be actually a good thing. TJ Warren eventually will come back, not this year. They have ruled him out. Rest of the year, Tyrese Halliburton, Chris Duarte. We have Dwayne Washington. What's his name? Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. NBA, Indiana Pacers. Oh, what's the other guard's name? He's at... Yeah, the rest of the season. Roster. Let's look at the depth. Oshae Brissett, Buddy Hield, which will probably end up trading away more than likely. Isaiah Jackson, who's an absolute stud. I like to see him come off the bench, continue to develop his game with Banchero until they start to show the promise. Duarte is day-to-day, but who's the other kid? Kiefer Sykes is a stud. Terry Taylor, he is an excellent rebounder for being a guard. He is phenomenal. He's had 10-plus rebounds, points per game assists, 3-point percentage, 35%. That's pretty good. 8 rebounds, 4-1, 4-3. But he's had better than that. Regular season, 5 rebounds. If you look at the statistics, though, he's a lot better rebounder than what he's showing when it comes to rebounding. But I would love the Pacers to get Paolo Banchero. We don't need that franchise-altering player. We have a great young roster in Tyrese Halliburton, Oshae Brissett, Isaiah Jackson, Lance Stevenson. I saw Lance right there. Miles Turner, Kiefer Sykes, Dwayne Washington, who's an absolute stud. And just to add another young stud along with this roster, I'm cool with it. I think he's going to be a lot better than what they're saying on here. But I'm cool with us just straight up. If he falls a 5, I'm cool with it. Which we're only at 20 minutes. Shoot, we can continue this then. Adrian Griffin, small forward, 6'6", 200 pounds at 7 foot, in which go back to NBA standings. They are only like 2 games from being able to get technically 3. They are on a 1-game losing streak. Same with the Pelicans. It is kind of getting tight. but they had that opportunity comparatively to the Pacers. They're only 3 games. We're 11. So I hope nothing but the best for you, Sacramento Kings fans. Because I love Sabonis, and I hope nothing but the best for you guys. But this might not be a thing where they are the 6th pick. They might be able to make the tournament. I hope so. But Adrian Griffin Jr. has been shooting the shit out of the ball and is showing stretches of elite level play. The trajectory looks good. Jimmy Butler. Whoa. That'd be sick. He's actually not just a guard, because you guys still have De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell. What else do you guys have? Justin Holiday. Yeah, he's been lining up for you guys. DiVincenzo. Lots of good shooting guards. Davion Mitchell, Josh Jackson, Jeremy Lamb. The opportunity to get the small forward in Adrian Griffin, I'd be cool with it for you guys. That'd be huge for you guys. Ooh, I like this song. But yeah, that'd be awesome for them, for the Sacramento Kings, to get that kind of elite level play in projection of a Jimmy Butler, Chris Webber, and Blake Griffin for Paulo. I'd be really fine with a Chris Webber. But that's not bad. Next up is Keegan Murray. I heard really good things about him. From Iowa, 6'8", 215 pounds, and non-applicable wingspan, Murray has blossomed into an elite college basketball player and has a skill set that looks very NBA ready. He's a bit older than the top prospects, but still seems to have a lot of upside to develop. Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam. That's not a bad option. That's not bad. We're going to go ahead and look. We're going to go back to the standings for that, and then we'll just use this for the depth. Sacramento Kings. The depth. Oh, wait. I know what I'm doing. I need the Spurs. Spurs. But, yeah, all it takes is, but the thing is the mock draft might not be changing too much, because it's not based off the playoffs, it's based off of your seeding at the end of the season, but it just takes a little, couple wins for them to be able to make the tournament for them. Technically 3 games and they're into the play-in tournament instead. You're guaranteed, or not guaranteed, it's getting close. 3 games away from being able to guarantee a play-in tournament for these 2. Like 3 more games, only 2 more games left, and you're guaranteed a playoff spot, or play-in tournament spot. The depth, I would love to see San Antonio get them to the power forward. Because then you can slide Keldon Johnson to the 3. Josh Richardson couldn't come off the bench. Slide Keldon Johnson to 3. Have the Keegan. He's a bit older than the top prospects, but still seems to have a lot of upside to develop into. I'd be probably fine with that. Again, I feel sorry for Pops. Greg Popovich, because this is a rebuild. This is gonna be, by golly, they can make the tournament, but I still see them needing. I still need to see them get another young player to go along with DeJounte Murray and Keldon Johnson. And Capoto's actually had a hell of a year too, But then you can have Josh Richardson come off the bench, and then have Keegan Murray slide to the 4, Keldon Johnson at the 3. Nice young roster. And you're starting to have that kind of that feel if they do get a Keegan Murray, you start to see that those pieces start to click of DeJounte Murray, Tony Parker, Keldon Johnson is a little bit of like a Robert Horry, Steven Jackson kind of role, but actually probably a lot better than, not a lot better, but as equivalent, if not a little bit better in those circumstances, in those roles of being when they were on the Spurs. Then you can have Keegan Murray have a Tim Duncan. If he can learn from Tim Duncan, the Spurs might be right back into making the playoffs for another 2, 3, 4, 5 decades in a row. If Keegan Murray is willing and does learn from Tim Duncan, that'd be huge for them. Next up is Jalen Duren. Duren is 18 months younger than Chet and has elite physical tools, but has more of an old school skill set. Nothing wrong with that. Dwight Howard comparison. Prime Dwight Howard would be sick, but it's a rebuild, and the question becomes: when it comes to Damian Lillard, is he willing, or does he want to get traded? Is the Portland Trailblazers, are they wanting to trade away? Are they willing to trade away Damian Lillard right now? Like, not even ask Damian Lillard if he wants to get traded. Do you trade him away anyways? Try to get a couple picks and then rebuild around Anthony Simons. Trade away Yusuf Nurkic and try to build around Anthony Simons and Jalen Duren. Those are the bigger questions. And in this circumstance, yeah, you have to trade away Yusuf Nurkic so that way you can have Jalen Duren as your starting center. Or I guess you could keep Yusuf Nurkic and then have him come off the bench, but more than likely Yusuf Nurkic is going to be a free agent if I remember correct, so I don't like that move for them really all that much. But I just have another pick in Johnny Davis. Manu Ginobili. Davis should come off the draft board in the range 6 through 12. He might not be a superstar at the next level, but he seems like a safe bet to be a high-level starter for a long time. Bernie Simons, Johnny Davis, and Jalen Duren. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down as a tad bit. Actually, I can go and just, I'm going to turn this up for you guys. And just put it off my ear so I can process things a little bit more, but sorry about that. A little bit of time lapse for a second there, but it's time to move on. If you have this pick, you have 2 picks back to back at 8 and 9. Honestly, they could trade away those 2 picks and try to get themselves a stud superstar, but that's a whole nother subject that we could get down the line with. But there's a lot of question marks when it comes to the Trailblazers circumstance. They're not. It would take a lot for them to get a top 5 pick, because they are 3 games above us. I mean, they could get I guess they could fall to where the Kings are, and the Kings can move up. I guess that could be a thing. I guess at them at 6. But if I'm the Blazers and I see that I have the 8th, 9th pick at Forney Simons, I'm telling Damian Lillard, thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for everything you've been through. But we need to rebuild and retool around Fernie Simons, and we're going to be trading you away. By golly, that loyalty, though, him willing to stick through all this process, I give him props. I kind of would want to keep him, but it's that weird circumstance. The loyalty like Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, but I'm going a lot into the Blazers. We'll go with the last one. This is a 30-minute video talking about the New York Knicks and how disappointing they have had for a season. 29-40. Last year, they were the fourth in the draft, the playoffs, fourth in the seeding. They were fourth, which is crazy to see where they are now at 29-40. Julius Randle has not been that player that they gave that contract for. He has been kind of flaky. He's been very rude towards the fans. And so, towards his own fans. By God, if you're rude towards, like, if he comes to Indiana, he's, like, telling us to shut up, tell us to shut the F up. That'd be one thing, but telling your own fans this, that's kind of shaky. But them getting Ty Washington, how are they doing in depth? And I don't know how they're doing statistically. I know they're missing Derrick Rose. RJ Barrett is tearing it up. Oh my word. They got him at the 3. Aaron Fournier at the 2. Alec Burks at the 1. Yeah, they could really use a Ty Washington. Washington has been slowed by a leg injury and will hopefully be back to full strength soon. Darren Williams, Brandon Knight. Darren Williams on the Jazz tore it up. I love Darren Williams on the Jazz. He was a stud. Hit a young Paul Millsap, a young Alex Jefferson. Those three tore it up together. But yeah, the Darren Williams is not a bad pickup. And the Grizzlies, oh my word, that's ridiculous. They're the, what seeding are they? They're the third? No, second. At 48-22, and they had the 11th pick from the Lakers. Quinn Richardson. I gotta talk about my Grizzlies, or not specifically my Grizzlies. One of my favorite teams, the Grizzlies, and how great they've been doing. A big time athlete, I misdid that sentence right there. Big time athlete and a shot maker with NBA size and athleticism, looking like a top 10 pick. 6'7", 197 pounds, not applicable. The thing with the Grizzlies is that their depth is so great. They could trade away that pick and then just get themselves more depth. I love the Grizzlies so much. Like, maybe a backup point guard, but I like D'Anthony Melton more so than Tyus. But Tyus has actually had a pretty good season. Where's Atlanta? 8 points, 12 points, 11 points, 5 points, 9 points. Not bad for a backup point guard kind of minutes, probably. Minutes 26, 18, 20, 18, and 20. Not bad. 50% from 3, 50%, 100%, 25%, 25%. Not bad, actually. I'm glad to see Tyus Jones actually turn his career to where he's at now, because he was looking kind of sketchy there for a minute. 5, 14, 6, 4, 18. I'm guessing they probably have him at shooting guard, don't they? Yeah, they have him at shooting guard. I actually don't mind that. Kind of like him at point guard, but shooting guard is not bad. Zaire Williams coming off the bench. Again, you can't go wrong with trading with that pick. Get yourself more picks like some second round picks, build more depth. You don't have to specifically go out and try to get a Benedict Mathurin. Like, you can't go wrong with getting a Mathurin, but I like their depth a lot, and I'm so glad to see the Grizzlies continue to dominate as much as they have. Absolutely obliterated my Indiana Pacers. Desmond Bain coming home to Indiana and tearing us up without John Morant. Wasn't even close competition. But I think that is going to do it here. If this video does do as well as I would like it to do, by golly, I plan to go and we can do maybe 12 through 24, 12 through 30. But this is already a long enough video as it is, and I talked in depth quite a bit about the teams and their prospects that they're projected to get. I do like, again, you can't go wrong with any of these young players on any of these teams because they're gonna need this kind of depth for all these young players. But I was been talking to Mike from ZKM Sports Talk and Zach from ZKM Sports Talk. They don't really know much about the depth and don't know much about these players. So I went ahead and just talked about these players just for some NBA talk. I've been needing to get into some NBA talk, but this is going to be in this video. And then eventually I'll be getting into some more NBA 2K22 my career. With all of this being said, guys, I'm in this video here, and I'll talk to you guys later.